Apparently Tucker Carlson aired this at the same time as the Republican debates.
It's debate night, but we're not in Milwaukee.
Fucking Trump's face.
It's debate night, but we're not in Milwaukee.
Mr. President, thanks for joining
Is there like a YouTube video or something where I can adjust the screen?
us.
Thank you.
Why aren't you at the Fox News debate tonight in Milwaukee?
Well, you know, a lot of people have been asking me that, and many people said you shouldn't do them, but you see the polls have come out, and I'm leading by 50 and 60 points. And, you know, some of them are at 1 and 0 and 2. And I'm saying, do I sit there for an hour or 2 hours, whatever it's going to be, and get harassed by people that shouldn't even be running for president? Should I be doing that? And a network that isn't particularly friendly to me, frankly. You know, they were backing Ron DeSanctimonious like crazy, and now they've given up on him. I mean, it's a lost cause. It reminded me very much of 2016. You know, in 2016, I went through the same stuff and had to fight them all the way, and then they became very friendly after I won, or just about when I was winning. But I just felt it would be more appropriate not to do the debate. I don't think it's right to do it. If you're leading by 50, 60, I have one poll, I'm leading by 70 points, and I'm saying, why am I doing it? And I'm going to have 8 people, 10 people, whoever made the debate, I don't know how many it is, but I'm going to have all these people screaming at me, shouting questions at me, all of which I love answering, I love doing.
Wow, top 10 next person with 224 viewers, my dude.
It doesn't make sense to do them. So I've taken a pass, as you probably noticed.
Well, I did. I'm grateful that you did. It's interesting, though, because you spent a lot of your career in television.
Yeah.
You had a top show in television.
It's debate night, but we're not in Milwaukee.
So I've taken a pass, as you probably noticed.
Well, I did. I'm grateful that you did. It's interesting, though, because you spent a lot of your career in television.
Yeah.
You had a top show in television on NBC. But you don't feel the need now running for president to do television, obviously. Do you think television is declining?
Well, according to a poll that I guess we just saw, it just came out where it's down like 30, 35%, but I think they were referring to cable. I think cable's down because it's lost credibility. MSNBC, or as they say, MSDNC, is so
Maybe we could chat sometime. What do you want to chat about, my dude?
bad. It's so wrong what they write and what they do and what they say. It's, you know, it's fake news, as I said. I think I came up with that term. I hope I did, because it's a good one. It's not tough enough anymore. It's corrupt news. You know, really what you do is call it corrupt news, but somehow that doesn't play as nicely. But it is corrupt news. So you have MSNBC and you have CNN, who's absolutely doing no ratings at all. I mean, they're dead. But they're doing none because they don't have credibility. They really don't have credibility. Fox is way down, as you know. And the good old days are long ago. I will say this, it could come back, but they just don't have a lot of credibility. Tucker, you know that perhaps better than anybody. I think it was a terrible move getting rid of you. You were #1 on television, and all of a sudden we're doing this.
I know it's not a real criticism, but I hate this stupid fucking look he has on his face all the time. Do you think he practiced this, or is it just as natural?
Getting rid of you. You were #1 on television, and all of a sudden we're doing this interview, but we'll get bigger ratings using this crazy forum that you're using than probably the debate or competition.
When you say there are people on stage who shouldn't be running for president, who do you mean?
Well, I don't want to really use names, but it wouldn't matter too much. A guy like, I call him Ada Hutchinson. It's Asa, but I call him Ada.
Why do you call him Ada?
You know, I could tell you, but I don't want to get myself in a little trouble. But he's weak and pathetic, and he was, I never understood the guy, never knew him. He was the governor of Arkansas, not a very popular guy. I don't know how but that state is such a great state. The people are so incredible.
Yes.
And
Oh, so they don't know either. Jesus, what a waste of an article. Maybe American with Disabilities Act? Does he call him retarded, basically?
that state, and they love me and I love them. How does this guy get elected governor of Arkansas? But he's nasty always, and has been. a guy like Chris Christie, the guy left with a 8%, think of it, 8% approval rating in New Jersey. Now he's running for president. And he runs solely on the basis, oh, let's get Trump. He's like a savage maniac. He's like a lunatic. And that's all he talks about. His poll numbers are very, very low. He's about 2%.
What's he like? You know him well.
No, I've been friendly with him over the years, but I couldn't give him a job because I just never trusted him very much. I was just never one of his people that really trusted him. I never gave him the job, and that's one of the reasons he feels so hurt and so betrayed. And I understand that. I really do. I understand it, but I never gave him. You know, he wanted to be different things. He was looking at different elements of the administration, and we decided. I decided just I didn't want to do it, and now I'm glad I did because you see. But you know, we had some great people. I had great people. We'll have even better people if we do this because now I know Washington. Before I didn't know Washington, but guys like Bill Barr were terrible. I mean, they were, I would say, Bushies. I say that with respect to the Bush family, but they were Bushies, and just it doesn't work out for us.
It was clear, this is kind of far afield, but it was just interesting. I read Barr's account of his time. He wrote a book about it,
right?
His autobiography, and in it he lies about Jeffrey Epstein's death. Clearly lies. Do you think Epstein killed himself sincerely?
I don't know. I will say that, you know, he was a...
What did he lie about Epstein's death for? Epstein almost certainly killed himself, by the way. That's like probably...
Honestly, now that you mentioned Tucker Carlson has that dog staring at a cupcake meme face.
Sure.
Fixture in Palm Beach.
Yeah.
I don't know what Barr said about it either. I have no idea what he said. What did he say? He killed himself, probably?
He said he killed himself and that they were going to do this investigation. They never did the investigation. It's never been public.
Well,
and they hid it. And, like, why are they doing that?
He
And clearly...
I thought they did have a huge, I mean, general lobby. I don't even know I don't know anything about you. What are we talking about? Fuck it. Hi, what's up, buddy?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Thanks for giving me this opportunity, I guess.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah, I had a interesting thing I wanted to discuss with you. Basically, how the election cycle, how the new president is going to influence the war in Ukraine. So there's a lot of people, basically so I'm Ukrainian, right? And a lot of people basically say that whoever supports Ukraine is the best candidate, right? Like, it's very obvious where our allegiances are. So what do you think? Is a Republican, is a Democrat going to be better for Ukrainian sovereignty, I would say?
I have no idea. It super depends on the Republican. If you get like a super mega populist guy like Trump or Vivek, then we're probably going to slowly withdraw support from Ukraine, would be my understanding. Maybe, or maybe they'd have so many advisors that would never happen. It sounded like people like Nikki Haley would be pretty hawkish on Ukraine, and that wouldn't happen. We would continue to support him.
So is there a line in a Republican Party that is just not popular? Because I've heard that some of them are like, you know what, Democratic Party is not doing enough. We actually would do even more for Ukraine, and that's kind of like they're getting points there.
Who said that?
I don't remember specifically. I've heard that when the war started and the Biden administration was kind of slow. I'm not super well versed in American politics, but that's what been spread around in Telegram channels and stuff. That some Republicans were saying that some Republicans did visit Ukraine recently to kind of, give like some promises, or I don't know what they were discussing. But is there no such sentiment in the Republican Party?
I mean, it's kind of divided right now between the populists and the establishment. The populists probably don't want to support Ukraine as much. The establishment probably would, but it's hard to say who's going to win the next election. So I don't know. Yeah.
Isn't correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't the popular opinion in America that Ukraine should be supported? Shouldn't be they doubling down on that?
I think popular opinion is supported, but I think right now the majority of Americans think we need to send less aid. I think is what the polling data is right now.
Because like isolationism and stuff, like protecting the border.
Or just because people just hear numbers, they think they're big, and they're like, maybe it's enough. They stop caring, but yeah.
So some of the people in my chat were saying that, and if I understand this correctly, it's a complete bullshit, but they were saying that illegal immigrants in America were voting and stuff. That's not possible, right?
Yeah, there's no evidence that that's happening.
So it's just been spread by like Tucker Carlson and people like that?
Yeah, people always say maybe it's happening, but there's never been any evidence to show that it's happening.
Did you hear that he's going to have a conversation? He wants to have a conversation with Putin, this guy, Tucker Carlson?
Wouldn't surprise me.
Do you think it's going to happen?
I don't know. Good question. Maybe. I'm not sure. Now that he's like fully independent, I guess he could if Putin wanted to, but yeah.
I have this, maybe, I don't know, I'm interested in your opinion on this. So you're like pro free speech, right?
Yeah, generally, yeah.
Do you think that people like Tucker Carlson and like maybe Alex Jones should be prohibited from having a platform? Not by like government. Like, can't they? I don't know how your system works, but can't they like forbid them to speak publicly?
No, I think that I mean, you should have the right to speak. People should speak. You should be able to have your opinion aired and voiced, and yeah, it's how our democracy works.
Do you agree with that completely? Because you said recently something on stream that it's like you don't even know if people like the amount of like misinformation and just dumb shit that they're saying is just so bad that maybe they shouldn't have the ability to speak like that.
No, I mean, it sucks and it's annoying, but I mean, that's just part of living in a democracy. Is a lot of people are going to say stupid things that are probably bad and can be harmful, but I mean, that's part of like freedom of speech, right?
Well, yeah, but in Europe, for example, in some country, speech is to some extent policed. In Ukraine, obviously, right now, if you're like pro-Russian, you're gonna get fucked completely. That's what happened to that Coach Red Pill guy, which I also considered reporting to the SBU. I think that's like fair to protect your national interest. I think that Russia and maybe some other like countries like Iran and China are exploiting this like thing that you guys have, and I mean,
I don't like the way that freedom of speech works in like Europe and shit. So I mean, I'm okay. They can run their things that way, but I like them. I think we enjoy greater freedoms over here. Like in Europe, people get like jailed for like, well, not jailed, but fined for like Nazi salutes or like calling people racial slurs on Twitter. I think that's a little too far.
I would agree with you there, but isn't there like so like, for example, is there a difference between Nick Fuentes doing that or some random guy doing that?
Is there I mean, yeah, there's a difference. What do you mean? Nick's got a bigger platform. He's a different person. What do you mean?
Right. So would you think it would be fair if there would be some kind of legislation or law or whatever the fuck it's called, where if you're big enough and you're like fucking brain dead and you're spreading harmful shit, should you get like fined and stuff?
No, because I mean, like, who decides what we fine people for? Do I want like Donald Trump?
Isn't that what technically happened to Alex Jones?
No, he didn't get fined. He got sued for, I think, for defamation, right?
You think that was I think that was a good thing. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, they went to court and they proved their case, and yeah.
Do you think that government should be able to like sue and say, hey, what you're doing is harmful to people in the country, and maybe
no, that's part of our freedom of speech. Sometimes you can say things that might be harmful or cause harm, but that's part of the freedom of speech that we have in the United States.
So you're saying that the harm that is produced by freedom of speech is being outweighed by the good?
Yeah, that's part of the deal. That's part of the yeah.
Don't you think it's like kind of I feel like you're a pretty reasonable guy in a sense that you're trying to look at things from different perspectives and see what's the best solution. Isn't this kind of like going full on free speech as opposite of like Russia, where there's no free speech? I think both things are bad. Can't we find something in the middle, or do you think it's impossible?
Nope, I like where we're at right now. I like this. I don't think I would want like crackdowns on freedom of speech right now. I think it's in a good spot right now. Yeah.
Okay. I have another thing, if that's okay to ask. Is that okay?
Yeah, go for it.
In Ukraine, there's a big kind of like movement with younger people. They kind of believe that, well, there's not a full-on movement, but a lot of people discuss this, that older people shouldn't have the right to vote. They're basically like too fucking stupid and too out of touch with reality, especially in Ukraine because they're like post-Soviet, and especially at the situation that we're having right now. A lot of young people blame them for the situation that we happen to be in. What is your stance on that? Should there be a cutoff?
You can't take away the right to vote just because you're getting old. No.
Well, they're taking away the right to like drive a car, for example, if you're too old. No.
Yeah, but your right to drive a car, you don't have a right to drive a car. That's like a privilege we enjoy. But you do have a right to vote. That's important. Yeah, cars are licensed things that states can give and take away. But yeah.
So, what if? What about people in the government having a cutoff at the age?
As long as, I mean, there should be qualifying things for doing jobs, but I mean, as long as they're qualified to do the job, like.
Don't you think that they could, be harmful or not allow the government to progress as quickly because they are old and because they don't understand, especially how the internet works and stuff like that?
That's part of our jobs as Americans and voting them in, right?
So you're basically saying that isn't it that like, but not all parts of your government people can vote on. People can get like appointed and stuff. No, am I wrong?
Yeah,
like,
they can get appointed. But I mean, like,
people.
if you want to, like, if you don't like the way people are being appointed, then vote on different representatives. I don't think people care about age that much. They'll say it, but when it comes time to voting, I don't think they're picking that way.
There's been a lot of talk that Biden is like super old and stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, he won the election. He won the primary, right?
Well, that's true that Trump is not much younger, though, right? His main opponent. So in principle, even, you would say that it's not very good, or would you say that it's maybe will produce better outcomes?
What will produce better outcomes?
Not allowing older people to vote.
No, I don't think it's good. If you're part of the country, you should probably, if you're paying tax, or I mean, like, if you're functioning as part of the country.
You're not paying taxes.
No,
right?
If you're part of the country, the
pension?
country is affecting you and everything like that, you should probably have a right to vote in the country, right?
It affecting you, well, technically, I guess you're right there. It kind of affects them, but what if they're I don't know. The problem in Ukraine is that older people are like not only they're out of touch with reality, but they're also very susceptible to like monetary incentives, and you could buy a lot of votes that way, and that's how Yanukovych, for example, got elected. In a sense, a lot of older people just got like a bag of fucking sugar or some shit.
Sure, but I mean, like, that's like everybody could be theoretically susceptible to that, right? Like, young people could be susceptible to it by like minimum wage hikes and stuff, right?
I guess you're right. I mean, I just look at, for example, Zelensky and that how he is the youngest president. I'm gonna be honest. The reason I voted for him was exactly that. That he is young, and I felt like he was in touch with. I guess from my perspective, right, from older people's perspective, I guess I see your point here. I voted for him because he has been in touch with the working class and with people who are my age, and he was proposing a lot of good changes, and I feel like there was a great choice. Not precisely because of in part of it as well, right? Because he understands how internet works. How I feel like he's been very successful in having this almost like a marketing approach to like how to market Ukraine to the world and how to drum up support. What do you think? Did the age allow him to do that?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean, that's part of your electoral strategy, right? I mean, you can appeal to different groups of people for different reasons, but I mean, that's part of getting elected, right?
Would you prefer a younger person, or do you not really give a fuck about like?
As long as they're qualified for the job, I think other things are going to be way more important than age.
Okay, I see. What do you? Maybe the last thing, if I may. What do you think about voting electronically on your smartphone? Like, there's ways to do that. I think we would be able to do that fairly soon, in my opinion. We did a lot of things with our e-governance app. It's absolutely fantastic, and it helped a lot during the war on how to distribute funds and stuff like that. Obviously, you understand how technology can improve those things. Would you be in favor of if you know it's a proven method, people voting like through their smartphone? Because I feel like it would capture that younger audience that doesn't want to vote, showing up that way, and it maybe would bring younger people into politics.
I mean, it could, but I think the issue is I just don't think we have a way to do it like safely and securely yet. It creates like single points of failure that can sway a lot of different votes and everything. It seems like it's really hard to beat the idea of in-person paper ballot voting.
What do you think about like maybe local elections that way?
I don't know, if they want to try it locally, they could try it, I guess.
Right. Okay. All right. That's been interesting to chat with you. I also remember you had a discussion about like the hiring procedures and what people look at their resumes when they hire. If you ever want to chat about that, I also hire people at my job. I work in a software development company. So if we could chat again or something. I kind of been a fan. Don't want to dick ride too much, but yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, I'll keep that in mind.
All right. All right. If I may shout myself out, I also stream on Kick.
Yeah, go for it.
I stream about Ukraine and war and stuff that's going on. Ukraine in perspective. Live in Ukraine currently, so check out me at kick.com/TOPSEN, Topson. So yeah, I'd appreciate it. Thanks for the convo, man.
Yeah,
enjoyed it.
Have fun, be careful.
Have a good one.
Barr knew.
Wow, here you go, guys. Fascinating. Oh my goodness. Close enough.
I'm an idiot.
But why would Bill Barr be covering up the death of Jeffrey Epstein?
Bill Barr didn't do an investigation on the election fraud either, okay? He said he did.
Neither of
and
those two things are
pretended
true.
did,
He lied
but
about both of
didn't.
those things.
McSwain, the U.S. attorney in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia, said Barr just wouldn't let him do it. It was crazy. Barr became so petrified, so frightened of being impeached. They were going to impeach him. I don't know if you remember it.
Yeah.
It's not a big moment in history. But they said, we're going to impeach. You know, they play a much rougher game, the left, the lunatics. And they were going to impeach Bill Barr, and he was petrified. Now, how do you not get impeached? Don't do any of this stuff. But he didn't do the job there. I don't know what he did with Epstein, but possibly he didn't.
Do you think it's
that.
possible that Epstein was killed?
Oh, sure, it's possible. I mean, I don't really believe. I think he probably committed suicide. He had a life with, beautiful homes and beautiful everything, and he all of a sudden he's incarcerated and not doing very well. I would say that he did, but there are those people. There are many people. I think you're one of them, right? But a lot of people think that he was killed. He knew a lot on a lot of people.
He was killed.
You
I
think
think.
so?
I think the closer you look, I'm not a conspiracy person at all. I believe everything I hear. But yeah, the closer you look into it, I mean, the Attorney General of the United States, your Attorney General, clearly lied about the Epstein death.
Yeah,
and
he was.
Why?
He was certainly. It wasn't well done. They had no cameras. They had no anything. Everybody was sleeping, and a case could be made. Look, I'm not going to get involved in it, but I can tell you a case could be made either way. But it certainly wasn't the most well-run place.
So the reason I'm asking you is I'm looking at the trajectory since 2015 when you got into politics, for real, and then won. It started with protests against you, massive protests,
Right.
organized protests by the left, and then it moved to impeachment twice,
Right.
and now indictment. I mean, the next stage is violence. Are you worried that they're going to try and kill you? Why wouldn't they try and kill you, honestly?
They're savage animals. They are people that are sick, really sick. You have great people in the Democrat Party. You have great people that are Democrats. Most of the people in our country are fantastic, and I'm representing everybody. I'm not just Republicans or conservatives. I represent everybody. I'm the president of everybody. But I've seen what they do. I've seen the lengths that
That's cute that he stole that Biden talking point.
they go to. When they make up the Russia, when that's exposed and they go down, and Barr should have gone after them, and other people should have gone after, and they did very late, because the Durham report came out. It was fairly good. It could have been a lot tougher, I guess, but it was fairly good. But it explained how corrupt it was. I'll tell you who did a great job was the Inspector General Horowitz. He did a phenomenal report. You didn't have to go to Durham. He did it on Comey and on, I guess, McCabe and some others, and it was a vicious, it was basically a true report, how bad they are. But these people are sick people. These are people that I think they hate our country. You want to know the truth. When you see open borders, when you see these policies that they have, and so many other things, it's so sad to see. We have a country that's very fragile right now. I've never seen, I will say, look, I ran in 16, which was 15, but I ran in 16, election in 16, and there was tremendous spirit. In 20, there was even more spirit. We got millions and millions more votes. You know, it wasn't even a contest. People said, well, what'd you think of 20? I said, we did much better. We did. You got to base it on the number of votes. We got many more votes in 20 than we did in 16. But the election was rigged. It was a rigged election. But
This is really... Is it going to be like 40 minutes of softball? Questions? Is that it? Or... Let me grab a drink. Hold on. Guys, I'm fucking dying. Ugh. I feel like I want to sleep. I might be going to sleep soon. Bench power raising at Tucker for this interview. Raging.
and with COVID, they use COVID to cheat in a lot of different things. And
the nature of this particular interview was just Tucker not asking him anything remotely difficult. The most difficult question that he asked Trump was whether Epstein killed himself, to which Trump said, yeah, probably. But Tucker, I mean, listen, Tucker has principles, obviously. He speaks about them regularly. Alrighty, folks, while the Republicans were having their debate for, the people who are not Trump, Trump was actually just counter-programming it with Tucker. Donald Trump assessed this debate in his own way. As you would predict, he's a big fan of Ramaswamy, which demonstrates once again that he is not running against Ramaswamy, nor is Vivek running against him. He at one point tweeted out, this answer gave Vivek a big win in the debate because of a thing called truth. Thank you, Vivek. That would be with regard to Vivek explaining that he was the best president of the 21st century. Of course, again, Trump, I think, had a pretty good time probably watching the debate. Yeah, he was attacking Chris Christie. He was attacking Nikki Haley a little bit. He went after, for sure, DeSantis. But overall, nothing really happened in the debate that I think shook Trump's lead. Meanwhile, Trump's surrogates were complaining that they were blocked from the spin room, which they should be blocked from the spin room. If your candidate doesn't show up for the debate, you don't get to go to the spin room and then jabber about the other candidate. It's kind of ridiculous. But here was Don Jr. complaining about it last night.
Right now, trying to ban people from actually having discourse about politics.
How un-American.
Probably shouldn't surprise any of us, but that's what it is. And I've been told by others that I would be able to go in. So they said we were able to go in, then they said they weren't.
Told by others? What does that mean? These guys are actually crying that they weren't allowed to do interviews after the debate when they didn't fucking show up for the debate? How fucking stupid can you be? Am I missing something?
Now that we're here, and the candidate that
who said you can't go in the spin room?
they're telling me right
He's
now,
saying
Fox
Fox
won't
said
let
that.
me into the spin
But
room.
that's what the
You work
American
for
people
Fox
should know.
News,
This
sir?
is the kind of
They're
network
telling
they
him, he
are.
works for security here, but they're telling him that I'm not allowed to go in there. Because the candidates that
Well, I
they've
mean, if
been
your dad showed
boosting
up to the
while
debate, you could go.
simultaneously trying to
I
cut
don't
down
understand.
Trump for the last, 2 years? Didn't perform as they had hoped. So they can't have someone who can maybe be a representative of my father. Just like a few weeks ago when I was canceled after the first indictment, I was scheduled to go on. And about 5
Okay,
minutes before
I'm
I
sorry.
found
This
out
is
that
silliness. This is silliness. If your candidate doesn't show up to the debate, you don't get to put your person in the spin room. I mean, that seems like fairly fair on every level, especially because Trump was getting plenty of attention of his own. He did an interview with Tucker Carlson on Twitter, X. Apparently, it has some 200 million views. Now, worth explaining here that every time you scrolled past the video on Twitter and spent longer than 2 seconds on it, that counts as a view. So is that equivalent to actually watching a national televised debate? Those views are not in any way equivalent, but those are a big number nonetheless. And Trump had it easy. Tucker asked him 0 hard questions. Tucker did not press him on pretty much anything. It wasn't a serious interview. I mean, I've seen Tucker do serious interviews where he asks hard questions of people. This was clearly not that interview. It doesn't mean that Trump wasn't funny. So for all those who think that Vivek is another Trump, I don't think anybody's another Trump. Trump is a deeply funny human being. I mean, the guy has like a real sense of humor. The contrast is sort of Trump is the 7th grade bully who says things about people that are inherently funny. Right? He's the guy who makes fun of that guy for being fat, and he's the guy who makes fun of that guy for being slow, and he's that guy. Vivek is the guy who got into Harvard, lets every single person in the room know about it, and then makes fun of you for owning like a 1987 Honda Civic while he has a Benz. It's not quite the same sense of humor, and one is a lot kind of sharper and more divisive. In any case, I'll give you an example. Vivek's joke last night about Nikki Haley or his attack on her is that she was hired by Raytheon or some such. Trump's attack on Joe Biden is that he looks like he walks on toothpicks, which is hysterically funny. Here's Donald Trump last night.
But he's a corrupt person, so corrupt that I took the name off Hillary. I don't do 2 people at one time. I took the crooked Hillary and I retired the name. That was a good day for her. I bet she was very happy. And I used it for Joe because it's Crooked Joe. But Joe is really...
But you don't think he's going to make it to November of 24?
Well, I think he's worse mentally than he is physically. And physically, he's not exactly a triathlete or any kind of an athlete. You look at him, he can't walk to the helicopter.
When Daily Wire pivots, when Trump gets a nomination, I hope their smooth brain subscribers ditch them. Well, I think the Daily Wire probably consider themselves fans of the Republican Party and they want what's good for the Republican establishment. And running Trump again is probably just a really bad idea. Like, the idea of running a president again against the same president that he lost to already is just a phenomenally bad idea. And it's just so scary. And if Trump won, he doesn't even have his incumbent advantage. Like, they're going to have to run again afterwards because he's only a one-term president, because he's already had one term. Like, it's just, there are so many reasons why, like, running Trump is just such a bad idea. And, yeah, I don't know.
He walks, he can't lift his feet out of the grass. It's only 2 inches at the White House, right? That's not a lot. But you watch him, and it looks like he's walking on toothpicks. So, and then you see him on the beach where he can't lift a chair. Those chairs are meant to be light, right? They're like 2 ounces. You lift them up. He can't lift a chair. He can't walk to the chair. And I don't know what they're doing with the beach. This beach is seeming to play a big role, but they love pictures of him on the beach. I think he looks terrible on the beach.
Inimitable. I mean, like that's it. I mean, you can't imitate it, but you can't duplicate it, man. He is an insult comic, right? I mean, that's what the guy does for a living, and he insult comicked his way to being president of the United States. Whether he can do it again is another question. But I mean, like, no one on the stage can do that, obviously. Like, is that a quality that you need in a president? Probably not. Is it really funny? Yeah, it's really, really funny. Let's talk about the fact that your cell phone, it's in desperate need of replacement. As you have your cell phone longer and longer, your battery life basically degrades. And so now you can't go outside for 5 minutes without the thing dying. Well, you know all those signs. This is why you should check out Pure Talk. Why? Well, because you can upgrade to a new 5G Samsung Galaxy from Pure Talk for free. Get a free 5G Samsung Galaxy today with 2-day battery life, edge-to-edge display, ultra-strong Gorilla.
Why would our segue to that be battery life issues? What?
Glass when you sign up for Pure Talk's unlimited talk, text, and 15 gig data plan for just $35 a month. Plus, it comes with a mobile hotspot. If you're not using Pure Talk, you're simply paying too much. Get all the data you could ever need for half the price of the big carriers on America's most dependable 5G network. Head on over to puretalk.com/Shapiro for your free, super durable 5G Samsung Galaxy when you switch on over to Pure Talk.
What is a 5G
Again, visit
Samsung
puretalk.com/Shapiro. Make the switch to my cell phone company, Pure Talk. It's the official wireless partner of the Daily Wire. I do all my business phone calls on Pure Talk.
How many different Galaxy phones are there?
Which means a lot to me since, I run a very large business. You should also do the same. Great coverage. They don't hate your guts. Go check them out right now. And when you do, you can upgrade to that new 5G Samsung Galaxy from Pure Talk for free. That's puretalk.com/Shapiro. I don't know about you. This summer heat in South Florida, it is really, really hot outside. But there's some...
South Florida, Ben, why aren't we hanging out?
You should not be sweating this summer. That is the price of meat. Thanks to Good Ranchers, you don't have to. Your price can be locked in for 2 years. You might be thinking a price lock guarantee on meat. Yes, it is amazing. It's amazing because, again, those prices are going up, so why not lock that in? Good Ranchers is the only meat company locking in your price with their industry-first price lock guarantee. Since 2021, they've been helping people combat the inflation of the meat aisle as well as the mystery of it as well. It turns out over 85% of all grass-fed beef is imported from overseas. And so not only is store-bought meat expensive, often it's low foreign quality as well. But when you subscribe to Good Ranchers, you're getting a guaranteed price and a trusted 100% American source for your favorite cuts. You can save on your beef, chicken, and pork by locking in your price today. Every single steakhouse quality cut is individually wrapped and flash frozen to make mealtime easy. So,
damn, why didn't I can do this?
Head on over to goodranchers.com. Use my code Ben for $30 off any box. That is promo code Ben at goodranchers.com. Again, goodranchers.com. That's American meat delivered. Goodranchers.com. They made me a kosher steak one time. I got to tell you, it was unbelievable. Their meat is that good, I think, for everybody else who doesn't keep kosher. Go check them out right now. Goodranchers.com. Use my code Ben for $30 off any box. The nature of this particular interview was just Tucker not asking him anything remotely difficult. The most difficult question that he asked Trump was whether Epstein killed himself, to which Trump said, yeah, probably. But Tucker, I mean, listen, Tucker has principles, obviously. He speaks about them regularly. This would have been a great opportunity for him to ask the former president and leading Republican candidate about some of those principles. He didn't do any of it. Instead, he sort of, I mean, how soft were the softballs that Tucker was throwing to Donald Trump? He asked Donald Trump to rip on Mike Pence by suggesting that Donald Trump had always been very nice to Mike Pence. This question is so bizarre. I don't even know what to say about this.
You've always been nice to Pence. I've never heard you criticize Pence. You've defended him in public many, many times. He's out there attacking you. What is that?
What?
So Mike wants to run for president. You got to understand.
What?
In my opinion, Mike
Has been okay.
Pence had the absolute right to send the votes back to the legislatures. The Democrats and everybody said, you don't have the right. In other words, what I said
It is so wild that Trump still maintains this, that he could ask his vice president of the United States to reject the vote. This is such a fucking wild line of thinking. Oh my God.
Is he a human conveyor
Okay,
belt?
like,
You mean, if he finds fraud in Pennsylvania, in Georgia, in any of these states?
I don't care about Trump's answer. It's Tucker's question that's absurd. You've always been nice to Mike Pence? The actual what?
Whoa.
What? Oh.
Isn't it against his religion to swear or something?
Okay, for those who have a memory of a goldfish, let me remind you of a time when Donald Trump suggested, nay, said outright, that Mike Pence had the unilateral capacity to overthrow an American election, essentially called him a coward, suggested that he would be forced to do so, and then when Mike Pence called him from the Capitol building on January 6th, because the Capitol building was under assault, he basically did nothing. You were always very nice to Mike Pence is one of the craziest Orwellian statements I've ever heard. You were always very nice to Mike Pence is an insane statement. That's like, truly, that's a crazy, crazy question. But that was the nature of this, interview, which again, softball interview on Twitter. Did it counter program Fox? Not really. I watched both, but I doubt very many people actually did. And Tucker did ask him one question that was of relevance, but then he didn't press him on it. He said, they stole it last time. Why wouldn't they steal it this time? Now, the question you should have asked is, we all know they're going to, you say that you won the election last time, and if you're Tucker, you believe that's true, apparently, or you at least believe enough of it that you're willing to say it. The question to Trump should be, okay, how are you going to unsteal it? Right? I mean, that's like a question that, whether you love Trump, whether you hate Trump, like, that's a really good question that Trump has never answered. You say the election was stolen in 2020, but you won. But it was stolen, but you won. So, let's say the same thing happens this time. What is your plan to unsteal the election? Can you name how you're going to overcome all of this? Can you lay out, like, your electoral strategy? How are you going to get out the vote? What kind of budgeting are you dedicating to, say, grassroots organizing? What sort of budget are you dedicating to your legal team? What sort of legal measures are you preparing? Do you have ballot watchers? Do you have vote counters? Like, how exactly is this going? Like, that would be a useful question. How much of your Trump campaign fund is being dedicated to, say, your legal expenses in Georgia, as opposed to building up the infrastructure necessary to preserve an election that you win if you say that you won 2020? Is that the question Tucker asked? Now, he asked him the question of, like, why are people so mean to you?
And immediately after the election, they met rhinos, could name them all, and Democrats, and they approved legislation that takes away the right of the vice president to do it. So I said, so you're saying I was right. The vice president did have the right to do it, and they said, yes, he did.
So if you're saying they stole it from you last time, why wouldn't they do the same this time?
Oh, well, they're going to be trying, yeah. And not only me, these people are sick. They will go after them, and a lot of people say they won't be able to hold up. I do get credit for holding up quite well, I must tell you. I think it's...
How do you do that? How do you get indicted, every week and stay cheerful?
I think it's a lot easier because I'm so high in the polls, because it means the people get it.
As long as he's high in the polls, it's okay to get indicted.
People see it's a fraud.
Okay, so that's what the entire interview was. That's not counter-programming. I'm sorry. That really is not. I mean, it's just a propaganda 45-minute softball for Trump. That's all that is. I mean, just realistically speaking, you may love it. Maybe that's your bag, but that's what it is. And that, how are you simultaneously so brave and yet so humble? And that's what that interview was. Are you tired of the lies and the twist of the mainstream media talking?
Yes, I am. Why do you think he uses a clip-on mic and this microphone here? Which one are we hearing him speaking to?
To them, and a lot of people.
How do you get in?
The people see.
For Trump. That's all.
It sounds like a high-quality mic, but is it... Usually these little dots are on the front of the mic. Is it backwards? There's no way they'd have it fucked up. I wonder if he uses this one to talk to his crew. It's for fashion. Cosmetic mic. Alright, listen, I love you guys. I'm gonna, like, take a nap. I feel like shit. I think, hopefully tomorrow we're good. Or I might come back tonight. I don't know, we'll see. I'm feeling out of it. My head is fuzzy, alright? I got the long Swedish flu. Read the comments. Ben's audience, as much as they're trying to be establishment Republicans that are not siding with Trump blindly, I feel like a lot of his audience is probably still going to be squarely in the pro-Trump camp. And I think most of these comments seem to be pretty pro-Trump, so. No. Apparently there's an article from The Atlantic saying the Constitution prohibits Trump from ever being president again. We should read this at some point. I just need to, But, alright. I love you guys. I might be back later. I'll be back tomorrow. Be careful, my duders. Stay safe.